Okay, hi everyone. So welcome back now to our daily maths challenge day 6 video. And let's have a little look at what we'll be doing today. So this is our multiplication and division question. And it says, Ellie has 30 muffins. As always with a word problem, we're going to start underlining as we go, right? We're going to make sure that we get the key information underlined for ourselves. So if Ellie has 30 muffins, well, this is a number, right? So that's probably going to be quite important to us. She decides to be very generous and share them out equally between herself and her 5 friends. So let's underline this as well. Herself and her 5 friends. How many muffins do they each get? So now we want to think about how many muffins are we going to be able to share equally between Ellie and her 5 friends. A super important thing to note here is the share equally part. And we should all know that when we see share equally, we know that that is going to mean division, okay? So when we see share equally, whenever we see this phrase, that's going to mean we're going to be doing a division sum. The next step is to work out what division sum we're doing, right? So let's have a look. Well, we're starting with our 30 muffins. So I'm going to write a 30 first of all. Then we're going to share them equally. So we're going to divide our 30 muffins. We're going to split them up equally into equal parts between Ellie, herself, and her 5 friends. So how many people are we actually sharing the muffins with? Well, we've got Ellie, that's one person, but we've also got her 5 friends, right? So altogether, we're sharing it between 6 people. We're sharing them out between 6 people. Therefore, our equation is going to be 30 divided by 6. So now let's do it. Let's do our 30 divided by 6. We want to think what thing times by 6 equals 30, right? Something multiplied by 6 is going to be equal to 30. Now, in this instance, you can use your multiplication squares to help you, things like that. But if you don't have a multiplication square to hand, that's totally fine. We need to practice our divisions and multiplications anyways. So 30 divided by 6, well, let's have a little look if we were doing a long division, right? We put a 6 here and we've got our 30 in here. Well, we can't do 6 into 3, but we can do 6 into 30, right? 6 into 30 goes 5 times. So this is a great way to write it. But how do we get this 5, right? How do we get this 5 that goes into 30? Well, we know that 5 times by 6 equals 30. That also tells us that 30 divided by 6 equals 5. But again, another way to think about this, if you're having trouble, okay, adding up, is we can do some guesswork. If you're in an exam and you don't have a multiplication square to hand, we can do some guesswork. We can think, okay, well, let's try out something. We could try out some numbers. We could do 4 times by 6, for example, which is equal to 24. Or we could do 7 times by 6, which is equal to 42. We now know that whatever number we're looking for has to be bigger than 4, right? Because we're looking for 30, which is bigger than 24, but less than 42. So this is just a kind of trial and error multiplication method. We could then try 6 times by 6, which is 36. We're getting closer, but we still want a smaller number. We know now that it can't be 4 and it can't be 6, so it must be 5 times by 6 equals 30. So the best thing to do when you're doing your exams is to try and remember as many of these multiplications and divisions as you can. But if you can only remember a few, you can start using this trial and error method. Use the ones that you do remember to find out the ones that you don't. So our final answer is 30 divided by 6 equals 5. And what does this tell us for our question? Well, we've got that. We can see, let's fill it in for ourselves. We want to always be really clear when we're doing word questions. So whilst we've done our 30 divided by 6 equals 5, we also want to remember to write it in the best way possible for the question, just to show them exactly what we're doing, right? So we can now write, well, we've got 30 divided by 6 equals 5. So if we share 30 muffins between 6 people, they all get 5 muffins each. Okay, we can write it like this, 5 muffins each. Just to be really clear that we're understanding exactly what we're doing in this question. Okay, great work so far, guys. Thank you for tuning into this challenge video.